Welcome to the Paisley Pirates Podcast, your ringside pass to players, coaches and the people who keep the fire burning. The ship sails with all of you on board. Coming up in this episode.
Just what you got to see in your shirt doesn't mean that to say that other people can't be vocal and speak up. And although there wasn't as big a rink in Paisley, the fans were passionate as I've ever seen. Enjoyed Paisley, that's for sure. Without Paisley being, I don't think the clan would have came about.
Massive thank you for doing this with me. It's I think a lot of the older Pirates fans will be, they'll be jumping at this one because, you've got such a great legacy with the team. You've played between 96 and 99 with the team at the Old Lagoon. And you becoming a captain, and was it your third season you started as captain?
I can't remember being captain, to be honest, but I remember being assistant the second year, but I probably was captain, to be honest. I think Paul Hand would turn into coach, and then you couldn't be captain coach, so I think I was captain then at the last season, yeah. So
something I always ask all the guests that come on the podcast these days, and it's kind of a bit of a running thing, and it's a really important question right at the very start of the episode. What is your favourite biscuit?
I've never had one for a while. I'd say probably a penguin.
Oh, a penguin, that's a good choice. I think the consensus right now is a good custard cream at the moment, but a penguin's a really good choice.
No, penguin, anything about chocolate on it, I think.
Good choice. So let's start from the very beginning then. So for you, where did the passion start with hockey?
Well, basically I've always stayed within 5 minutes of Kirkcaldy ice rink. So it was what everyone young really done. Like from primary school onwards, you go for a skate, because it's within walking distance of the house, and there was nothing else to do back then. There weren't any computers or stuff like that back then. So I think my mum and dad took me up to a skating session when I can't remember what age it was, but maybe 9, 10. And then after that, I was just hooked. I started skating, and right off the bat playing hockey after that once I knew I could skate decent enough.
So what was the kind of, for you, your kind of journey through the juniors and then coming up into the pro leagues?
Always Kirkcaldy Ice Hockey Club was always the junior setup, and then really worked my way through all the age groups. I would kind of say it was I used to be just 13s, under 16s, then it was the Safeway Sabres, or was it the Kestrels? I can't remember now. But it was kind of a late bloomer. There was a few folk moved up before me. I was always undersized. So I just took a late spurt. Maybe at the time I was 16, 17. I started kind of getting into the senior side of it. And then I went to the Flyers, then I had a spell in the Air. The year after, I had a whole year at the Flyers. Went to Air for a year and a half. And came back to Fife, and I've been bouncing about everywhere. Paisley, Edinburgh, Dundee, you name it. I've been somewhere.
What actually brought you to Paisley?
There was a bit of it was a change of leagues. I was up at Fife, and I think they changed to the Super League, and Fife wasn't going into that league, but there was a new league starting up, the Northern Premier League or something, with like the Fife, Paisley, Whitley Bay, and Doug Marsden, I think, was probably he was the coach then, and I was good friends with him playing at Fife. Mm-hmm. And he enticed a few of us to go to Paisley, and we thought, well, why not? It's a change of scenery. And I knew a lot of good players. There was always a bit of a Fife Paisley thing against each other. So when we all moved to Paisley, there was a big rivalry with Paisley and Fife, because obviously wanted to be your hometown team when you're not on it.
Of course.
So it kind of kicked off of there, and it was pretty physical back then.
Aye.
There was prisoners taking sort of thing. So no, it was good. Enjoyed Paisley, that's for sure.
So what was your first impression of of the club when you first joined, and what was the when you compared that to the kind of fan base that Fife have and to what Paisley had at the time as well? Was there any kind of comparisons, or was it like completely like the opposite ends of the spectrum?
No, I'd seem to say that the owners at Paisley at the time, it was pretty professional. I mean, if you wanted anything, we all travelled from Fife for training, games and everything. They paid our personal expenses. If not, we got a sponsor's car, we got all our kit we needed, sticks, which was much the same as what you got with Fife, who was in the higher league before then. They all looked after us, and although there wasn't as big a rink in Paisley, the fans were passionate as I've ever seen.
No.
I mean, you know what Paisley people are like, eh? If they're into a sport, they'll give it loudly. Like, I mean, everyone talks about how involved the Fife crowd gets, but I'd kind of say Paisley crowd gets more involved just with the size of the rink, and especially the rivalry between us two teams.
Yeah,
it was always a good crowd came through for Fife, so it was just a battle. It was really good, but I'd say it's probably better than what is even nowadays. The passion that the fans and all had, because they all seem to know their hockey because they've come from hockey backgrounds.
Yeah,
they've been at the sport for a long time, and it was entertaining anyway, that's for sure back then.
So just looking at your stats for your time playing with Paisley, so what I've got here is you played 83 games, you had 69 goals, 84 assists and 153 points, so that's roughly equating or averaging about 1.84 points per game. Now, do you know roughly potentially where you rank all time on Paisley players?
No, I couldn't tell you.
So you actually currently rank 20th of all times of all Paisley players that have come through.
All right, well, I played number 20, so that's quite ironic.
But having that kind of like those stats, for the time you played, obviously, and the kind of length of time as well, that must give you some sort of sense of pride, surely, with the amount of guys that have come through the doors of the team.
Yeah, I've never been. I know I was only there for 3 years, and it was entertaining back then. There was a lot of goals scored, and so there's more points getting scored back then, possibly even nowadays. The way the leagues are, and it's a lot tighter defensively and stuff. But I can imagine there'll be a few imports that played for Paisley like had double the points I had. Anyway, that's for sure.
So when you joined the Pirates, was there anyone in the changing room that you remember that really stood out to you?
I think there wasn't many Paisley boys there, but I always remember I knew John Kidd from the time I played in the Air. Mm-hmm. He's a character and also played with Paul Hand, even though he was an Edinburgh player. We all played against each other, but they were all big characters in the dressing room. There were so many characters. Scott Blues, Graham Lester that you mentioned earlier on.
Aye.
There were so many. I think some of the imports as well. There was a Swedish guy, I can't remember what his name was. He could skate backwards fast and he could skate forwards. He was a defenseman. If I remembered his name, he was a character as well. Everyone was good guys, but the ones I've played longest with are the ones I kind of remember, like what they were like, and they were leaders in the room as well. They were all older than me a wee bit, so you kind of looked up to them as well because they were senior for me. Yeah. Although I'm a fair age now, but.
Was there any of the guys that you can remember off the top of your head that you could say you genuinely loved being on the ice with? They were there wherever you needed them. If you needed that pass, you knew they were there, or vice versa. There was
a few guys like Dean Edmondson. Mm-hmm. I mean, I played with him all on and off quite a lot all through the years. We were both forwards, Aye. Whether we're on the same line or different lines, they used to split us up quite a bit just to keep the strength through all the lines. Simon Leach was a perfect example back then from Whitley Bay. Mm-hmm. You see the ice really well. If you got a chance to play with him, you were guaranteed to get points just to get in the right place at the right time, or he would get in the right place at the right time to score. I never really played much career with one certain person. I always moved around, just all around good players. Mm-hmm. All bounced off each other because you just knew how each other played.
When Fife came to Paisley, it was always like, how do you beat your hometown? What, other than than playing Fife, was there any other teams that you felt made Paisley work the hardest?
It was always Fife. Whitley Bay was a tough place to go, which it still is.
Yeah,
it's a tough rink. I honestly can't remember much back then. I remember playing teams like Guildford, but I don't know how that came about, because it seemed a long way down south to play a Northern League fixture against Guildford. But we certainly played teams like that who were stronger down south, and they were top of the league. It must have been a crossover league or something, I can't remember, but it's still your typical teams that you still hear of now. There was some good imports back then as well, which basically if you won your games, it's because you had really good imports back then. It was just 3 imports in every team, and they backed with decent Brits, and you had a good chance, and they're decent goalies. It was more for British players than what is nowadays in the top leagues anyway, that's for sure.
When you've taken on this kind of this captaincy, later on with the Pirates, what was it like kind of helping, to help manage the team along with, you mentioned Doug was the coach at the time, and then Paul and John kind of stepped up to coach. What was it like being in that leadership role, just kind of help keep the team spirit up, but also kind of keeping the guys maybe in check a little bit?
I wasn't a vocal person. Right. I just tried to lead by example. I know a lot of people say that, but I didn't do much shout in the room. It was then had to be, say, the senior players like it says, John and Paul would give you a bollocking if they needed, but I was never a big shout in the room. I sort of kept myself as long as I was doing as much as I could to help the team and hopefully setting a good example for everyone else. It was there's quite a few captains that are like that. I think that you've always got a back in there's could be 3 or 4 captains in the room. Just because you got the C in your shirt doesn't mean that to say that other people can't be vocal and speak up for the younger ones and stuff like that. Yeah.
When you had the younger ones come through, did you have quite a big hand in helping bring them up to maybe not too much like a high playing level, but to that kind of standard of this is who we are, this is how we act as a team, this is how we look after each other? Did you have a hand in making sure that was kind of being adhered to, or even just to that point where the guys were getting looked after just as much as they needed to?
Well, everyone was treated equal in the team, because Paisley never really had a junior setup. It was hand picked back then for the team, but there was a few up and coming juniors Graham Lester from Ayr, he was younger as well. We brought him from Ayr. Chris Connaboy, who folk will remember seeing he's younger, he was massive, but he was just 16 when I came to Paisley. Big strong defenseman, tough boy as well. But they were all just treated like we were all the same age. If someone asked for advice and that, they weren't short on people giving them advice. If it was someone on the ice that was happening during the game, you obviously just direct them, to say where to go and how to position yourself and be ready for the puck, everything like that. And everyone took it on board, like Martin King as well. I don't know if he's from Paisley, but I know he's coaches Lanarkshire and that. They all listened to you. Everyone just absorbed what they got told, because there was no any high and mighty players in the team back then. We were just a group of guys that were all together and just wanted to help each other, young or old.
That's the kind of mentality that is, we mentioned in the first episode with Iain and Rab. That's the kind of mentality that they like to have within the whole team as well, and speaking to the captains as well. That's the kind of impression they like to adopt as well, whereas they'll help the guys coming through where needed. And it seems as if that's the kind of trend that's kind of followed from from when you played as well. It just kind of continued. If you potentially having a hand in that, the continuing this legacy from back in the day with you guys, and if you've led by example, then the guys are still leading by your example. That must give you a bit of sense of pride in that too.
Paisley's always got a name for being a physical team, and I think even before we were there, it was always going into Paisley with previous players and that. You knew you're in for a hard time, and I think we just followed that on from there. And even to this day, I know anyone that plays against Paisley in SNL and that, it's a tough gig to go against Paisley because they've just the way they're brought up.
Yeah.
I think it's like you say, it's just a legacy. It's continued that you've got to be physical and give it your all and just fight for the battles in the corners, the puck anywhere, whether you're 5-0 down or 5-0 up, you still want to play the same way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that's just Paisley through and through, been all these years. It's never changed. Whether you win or lose, you leave it all on the ice, and that's just the Pirates for you, basically, back then.
No. So I wanted to quickly touch on the cup game from '97, but before we do, we do have a wee bit of an announcement, and Iain, I'd be absolutely honoured if you would love to, if you'd like to announce it for us.
Well, the Paisley Pirates podcast is going live on the 30th of August at the Wine Centre Auditorium in Paisley. Tickets are £15 per head. Will feature some of the team from 96-97 Scottish Cup victory, and tickets are going online soon. All details will be following on. Be there, be square. Have a laugh.
The Paisley Pirates Podcast is going live. Join us on the 30th of August at the Wine Centre in Paisley, where we'll be talking with the legends of the 1997 Scottish Cup winning squad. Get your ticket now at www.paisleypirates.co.uk and click on the events tab. We cannot wait to see you there.
Obviously, Iain, thank you for doing that. But we wanted you to be there, but obviously, life can get in the way. So, and part of it, we wanted you to obviously still be a part of the show. But if we can't get you on the show, we wanted to give you a chance to announce the show at least, because some of your old players or some of the old guys you played with, the friends of yours as well, they'll be there as well. But when we talk about the 96-97 game, for you, is there any kind of deep memory in that game that that you really look back with fondness?
I think just being Fife in their own building, and the place was like jammed to the rafters. It was like a whole section, probably about 500, 600, 700 Paisley fans were there, and it was just like back and forth the game. I know it was fairly close to start off with, but Fife always just had an edge on us throughout the season, the 2 or 3 seasons I was there, and just to win in their building as well. And it was just how loud the crowd and that was, and just winning against Fife in your own hometown. I think not even for me, it's for all the Fife boys out there. We were all egged on by the fact that you wanted to win in your own hometown against the Flyers, and everyone just brought it to the table that one day, and I think we actually turned them over quite easily at the end.
So I've got the stats from that game and how it all came about. So Fife led 3-2 in the first. Then Paisley pulled ahead 2-1 in the second, tying up at 4-4, and then in the third period it was a 4-0 shutout, securing that victory, 8-4.
But you pulled away then.
Can you remember what the kind of the vibe was like in the changing room, like in between periods? Was it like, end of the first you're down, but then you've tied it up in the second, going into the third? There must have been that kind of sense of hope, coming back into that, you guys could really pull this back.
Yeah, it was always a case if you kept Fife close after even the second period, it was just really who wanted it most at the end.
Yeah.
I think we just fired up because Fife had turned us over in Paisley a few times in Paisley's rink at the Lagoon. And I think it was just a case of like, you would do anything just to win. And it just went our way. The puck started going and we just started shooting pucks in the net, and you don't shoot, you don't score,
Yeah.
And it was just we had like our tails up, as if you want to say. It's like, I don't think we're never going to lose that game after the second period, and you would have got back up to tied after 2.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think, from what I remember, there wasn't much pressure from them. It was all coming from us, to be honest, and gladly it worked out all right.
So was that potentially a game that you guys thought, we've lost this, but then, there was that big pullback at the end?
I think at the start, I think we went down a couple of goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start thinking, oh God, here we go, we're in Fife rink and the fans are going mad. But then we managed to pull them back. And obviously then the Fife fans will go quiet and the Paisley fans pick it up and the rest were hanging around the net and everyone's screaming. And I think they had us fired up more than anything else. We knew we wanted to do it ourselves, but having them going ballistic in the stands and being like the sixth man basically in Fife building.
Aye.
So it made all the difference as well, and it's just everybody was just so hyper, and if you were tired, you never felt tired. Yeah. At the end of the game, you could feel like you can go in our period because I just had, you're just buzzing because of the crowd and everything. It was just, there was no, I think Dino got hurt at the end, so that kind of put a wee bit of a damper in it.
Right. Because
he got stretchered off near the end, I think. Was it near the end? But he was okay. It wasn't that bad injury. I think it was just because he went off. No, but other than that, it was a great night. Great night for Paisley.
So you were talking about the fans just going absolutely nuts in the crowd. What was that kind of close knit relationship with the fans back then? Kind of like what there is now.
I don't know about nowadays. I don't know how many of the fans are still there from 96, 97, that sort of era. Mm-hmm. There is a few, because I still do speak to a few online and that. So, but I've kind of came away from watching the SNL now. So, but I know being a Paisley fan, when you went up to the bar after the game, everyone was like your best friend and that. We're all just like a big family, eh?
Aye. Have you seen what the lagoon's like now, since they get rid of the ice rink?
No, I've never been in it since I left.
It's decimated. The bar's not there anymore. The rink's not there. The only thing that's left is the old back stand and the DJ booth. That's it. And it's now a big sports hall.
Is it football or?
It's like a big gym hall now, and they host like events and whatnot. But there's
the swimming pool's still there.
Swimming pool's still there, I think. Aye. Because I was talking about someone had mentioned the old Reed's trophies that used to be in the lagoon as well, where a lot of the guys used to get their gear at the time.
Right.
But that's all gone now. It's all gone, unfortunately. That's why Paisley made the. Say again.
It was such a shame, because it was such a good buzz in that building.
Aye.
I don't know what maybe held. It was maybe 1,000 seats or something, and loads standing. But
yeah.
It was just, to me, it was a bit of a waste, no fixing the ice. I know there was some problems with the floor, but
yeah,
it kind of died a death after that until Braehead Arena came along. It was disappointing the way it ended for the fans anyway.
Aye, because there was one thing that Paisley did lose was an ice rink when that all happened. But as you say, Braehead came calling, and that was the restart, as if you will. So, for you, what made Paisley different from other clubs that you played for or visited?
When I did come back, I think I can't remember where I went after Paisley. I think it was Edinburgh. And I always remember, if you're not playing for Paisley, they'll let you know. We're all like good friends and family. When I came back and played, it must have been Edinburgh the next year. They weren't my friends then. But that's totally what you expect. It's like the same if you come away for Fife. It's the same if you at Whitley Bay. I can imagine if you played for Whitley Bay and you left. They're just all passionate, eh? But nothing bad. It's just banter. Eh?
Yeah.
We went up to the bar after the game. It's everyone's back to being pals and that. It's just during the game and that. Everyone likes giving dogs abuse out and chipping back and forward, so that was all good. But Paisley was I'd put Paisley up for away team players with Whitley Bay.
Aye.
For giving them stick. But in a good way.
So you give it good as you got, sort of thing.
Aye.
Looking at where the sport is now, within Scotland, Do you think the Pirates potentially had a role in setting the stage for the likes of the Clan in the West?
I think so, because without Paisley being, I don't think the Clan would have came about. I mean, maybe it was down the line because it's an arena. But originally you thought, would the Braehead centre be home with the Paisley Pirates? But Paisley sort of, I can't remember now if Paisley sort of, were they actually playing? Did they play somewhere else before Braehead?
Just the Lagoon. But long before the Lagoon was a Paisley ice rink, but that was a long time ago.
No, between the Lagoon and the Braehead Arena.
I'm honestly unsure. No, I'm honestly unsure. I haven't done my full research on that, and I feel bad. I need to apologise to the Turleys now.
I've got a feeling they played away games only or they never had a home rink, because Braehead, I don't think, opened right after the Lagoon shut. I might be wrong, but it was just I'm pretty sure a lot of Paisley fans are Clan fans now, anyway, that's for sure. And likewise, I presume Glasgow fans will come and watch Paisley on a Sunday night. I think they play their SNL games. It's definitely led on for Paisley anyway, because it's always been a bit of hockey town before the Paisley rink, before the Lagoon. Hockey's always been around like the older towns like Fife and Ayr, and even Edinburgh to an extent, or the city. It's not quite the same, but there's always been hockey ingrained in these places.
Yeah, because it's either like in certain towns and regions, it's like both like Fife and Sheffield, either a hockey fan or a football fan. I think there was like a survey recently done, like Sheffield, that Sheffield has ice hockey's the bigger sport in the town than football is. So we're winning somewhere, I suppose.
And they've got 2 football teams as well.
Aye, and I think that's nuts. Aye. So, a bit about a legacy for yourself. How would you like your time in Paisley to be remembered?
I'd hope to think they knew I played for the shirt and not for myself. I was always like pretty unselfish as a player. And I always gave it all. Doesn't matter if I was playing against a lower league team or the top of the team. I know you maybe, obviously, if you're winning 15-0 against some teams, you tail off a bit, but no, it was just a case of just playing for the shirt. I was never so bothered about who I was, just make sure the team won. And just make it entertaining. It's just, everyone wants to win, you never want to lose.
Well, I say a lot of the guys that are playing now, either if they never saw you play, they'll still know of you, but and how you were as a player as well. You know, and that, just as you say, you know, that you're probably one of the strongest guys that have played for the Pirates, and that's for a lot of the kind of current guys. And as I said earlier on, even the coaches, both Iain and Rab, you know, they speak very highly of you as a player as well. So just as I mentioned earlier on, you know, that kind of leading by example. You know, the guys that are playing now, you know, are still looking up to the guys like yourself and Kidder and Ploozy as well. It's something really, you know, that the legacy still continuing for you guys as well. And it's looking at, you know, at that for someone like me. I'll sit in the stands and watch the game, and you just see that kind of that passion just kind of leak through. You know, as you just said, it's not for them, it's for the jersey, and I think that's where the guys are working now.
Yeah, well, you see, Rab was one of the young boys as well when I was there.
Aye, he was.
So he's one of the kids as well, so he'd be able to tell you how I treated him better than what I've known how to treat him.
I'll definitely ask him next time I see him. Definitely ask him.
We just had a good laugh.
Aye. So, just looking back, are you still in touch and still friends with many of the guys from the squad?
I see Reggie Connor, because he's a referee now. He's one of the local boys, I think.
Right.
Is it Reggie and Colin Connor?
Oh,
can't remember where they come from. But only occasionally, the times I go to the hockey, I do see him. I say hi up when he's passing by and before going in games. We occasionally have reunions with Kidder and Ball Hand and that. We'll have to get another one actually organised because we've not done one for a while. And obviously the Fife boys, I knock around with Ploozy, like he's one of my best friends over here, so and he stays 2 minutes around the corner as well. But other than that, Facebook's contacts as well, chats with some of the Canadians who used to be here. Lost touch with a lot of them, which unfortunately you don't want to lose touch with them, but
of course,
life goes on. It's just I'm not involved in hockey anymore, so kind of lose touch with a lot of people that you'd like to see again.
Of course. So, if you had to, speak to yourself, standing back at Paisley, and you're walking in the dressing room, what would you say to your younger self now, if you could?
When I look back and I actually see some videotape of how I played, although I thought I played 100% hard all the time, watching the tape, I always said I could have done a bit more.
Okay.
Although at the time you felt you were doing enough, but when you watch back, you see all the things that I shouldn't have been doing, and maybe hiccups here and there, or getting too physical, or losing the plot now and again. But you always pick faults in yourself when you watch yourself on video, and lucky enough there wasn't that much video back then, so you don't see all the faults and half-assed efforts you were putting in sometimes. But you're more critical of yourself when you think back and what you could have done better. But it's what it is. It's just a case of you try and do your best at the time and just be happy with it.
So, kind of sticking in the kind of same vein, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's looking to either start playing hockey or has started playing hockey, and they're just wanting that kind of guidance as to, where to go with it?
Learn to skate. Don't touch a puck until you can skate properly. A lot of juniors now, their parents they just watch their senior hockey teams and that. And the first thing they do is they throw them on the ice with a stick.
Yeah. And
they can't even stand up. That's totally the wrong way to go. We used to, not so much me because there wasn't as much figure skating, but when my sons played, before they got to go hockey, they got taught by a figure skater, and she was the one that decided, right, you're good enough to skate, to get the edges, your crossovers, all the basic stuff. And she was the one that decided, right, let them play now.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's a case of it's too much about money. Like, people just want to throw money at their own kids and just think they're going to be amazing just because they're spending loads of money on them. But it's the basics you have to learn first. I mean, everyone can try the same amount, but if you've not got the technical ability before you actually start playing, you're behind the eight ball right away, whether you like it or not, whether your parents like it or not. You've got to. The fundamentals are skating. That's the fundamentals of the game, and that's how some of us we're pretty decent at, because we all knew how to skate, and we're taught how to skate as well before actually playing.
We'll give you some quick fire questions here. Something we also like to do, kind of wrapping up for an episode. What's the best rink you think you've played in?
Probably Sheffield. Although I don't like Sheffield, I say Sheffield's rink's pretty nice. Yeah.
Is that the one where the Steelers play?
Yes, aye.
Aye. It's a lovely big rink, isn't it?
Aye, it's big arena.
Who would you say is your most underrated teammate?
Underrated? I think I rated everyone. That's a tough one. I mean, like to say, because I think everyone's rated. Let me think about that one. I'll get back to you.
That's fine. So while you're thinking, maybe you think about this one as well. Who do you believe was the best coach you've ever had?
Best coach was probably Jack Dryborough from Fife. He always said he wasn't as much a coach, he was a teacher.
Okay.
And he taught hockey other than coaching, which I kind of agree with. The different fundamentals of it, but he knew his stuff. It's like a lot of folk would agree about Jack Dryborough. He's not with us now, but he's the one that sticks out more than anyone else, I think.
So just before we kind of wrap up, any final thoughts, or maybe just any words to the Pirates fans of today?
Just keep supporting the team. I hope when this podcast is it a podcast that you're doing at the end of August?
Yes, so we're going to...
It's a live event, eh?
Yep, we're going to be recording it live. We're going to be recording it in front of an audience.
Right, just as many as get along to it and support the event, and obviously look back in the Scottish Cup and fond memories, and I just get behind the team as much as can. They always have.
Yeah.
But it's never died a death at all with Paisley. They've always had a group of followers that are passionate, and young and old. I don't know the young ones as much nowadays. I know a few of the older heads around the ring, but just keep the passion going, and just support them all the way.
Well, like I said, Iain, it would have been brilliant to have you there on the night, but obviously, as we say, life gets in the way. But for tonight, though, you've been great. Just help him kick that off and announce that as well. It's been really good to still have you involved in some kind of way, because I say Rab and Iain were very much, get Robo on. It'd be great to talk to. But as I say, we understand life gets in the way. But no, thank you so much for this tonight. This has been great, and it's been really good to just kind of understand you as a player as well, and what your kind of thoughts were.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me and inviting me and putting up with my dulcet tones. I'm never good at these things. I'm never very good, so I just like.
Listen, if we end up doing a second live show, hopefully we can get you on for that as well.
Aye, not a problem. As long as I'm available, I'll do it. It's not a problem.
Nah, no worries. No, Iain, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thank you.
The Paisley Pirates are proud to be sponsored by Cold Blooded Sports, Renfrewshire Council, CycleLane.co.uk, Custom Sports Stitch, Hillington Tyre Services, Al Gould Photo, Studio 13, Abbey Services, and the Falk family.